How do you choose the right business niche? Well, Over 50 TV, this month we received over 500,000 views on our channel. We received thousands of comments. Many of those comments were regarding our career videos. And out of those thousands of comments, hundreds, at least hundreds of people mentioned starting a business. They asked questions. How should I start a business? Should I get financing? Should I do it full time? Should I do it part time? But you know what? I'm going to cut through all that because I think there's one question, the most important question that really needs to be answered. And that question is how to choose the right business niche. I'm going to answer that question right after this break. Welcome back to Over 50 TV. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Lou Reyes. I'm the publisher of our YouTube channel where we provide the latest work and money news to people over 50. So before we go on, what I want to do is I just want to define what a niche is. And some people will call it a niche. Some will call it a niche. I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to get some comments and people will be correcting me. But you know what? I'm just going to go with niche. That's what I've always used. It's what I understand. So if you're not happy with me using that term, but let's talk about a niche. A niche is simply a segment, a specialized segment of a much larger market. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I decided way back when, 20 some years ago, I decided I was going to get into the publishing world. And specifically what I decided is I wanted to work with small businesses. I wanted to provide information to them, information that I knew and believed could really help them to be successful. So I picked that niche. I picked a niche that targeted small businesses. I didn't decide I was going to publish a magazine for large companies, large businesses. I didn't want to get into the trade publishing business where I would maybe do a magazine on concrete or carpentry or whatever. No, I just focused on a niche, and I focused on a niche that I knew had a lot of potential. And how did I find that out? What I did is I just did research. I looked at the market. I looked at small business numbers. I looked at a lot of data. And the data that I looked at showed me that the small business market was huge and booming. There were not a lot of business magazines that focused on the small business segment, which is why I decided to get into that market. So what I did is I focused on a particular specialized area, an area that I knew had good growth potential. And then what I did is I just drilled down on that particular business. So I focused on that niche. Now, a question that I think lots of people will ask, especially if you're going to start a business, is, how do you find a niche? For me, it was very, very simple, and I believe for you it will be simple too. Here's what I recommend. Think about what you really like and what you really enjoy. And I use a word all the time. I use the word passion. What do you have a passion for? When I say a passion, I mean is that there's something that you want to do that no matter what, if the times are good or bad, you're still going to want to do it. I knew for me that starting a business magazine that focused on small businesses, that was my passion. That's what I wanted to do. I had a good understanding from having started a couple businesses. I had an understanding of how difficult and challenging it was for small business owners, and I felt I could help. So for me, my suggestion to you is to look what you have a passion for, something that as I just said, something that you're going to get through no matter what. But find that passion. And once you have that, once you decide you looked at an industry, and you can examine lots of industries, but look at an industry that you have some knowledge, you have some experience in, an industry that you like. And another thing that I really look at is this. Whenever I've done a business, what was always important to me, was I wanted to get into a business where there was not a lot of competition. I want competition because if I see competition, I know that there is a demand for that service. So I'm not saying don't get into a business if there's competition. But if you're looking at your particular area, I mentioned my publishing career. When I first started out, I launched my publication, my first business-to-business magazine in Cleveland. And I launched it because there was no other small business publications in our area. There was a general business publication. They really focused on large businesses. But if you had a small business, not only where you're not going to see very many stories in that publication, but you would not be able to afford to advertise in there. So I created a publication that wasn't competing with this other publication, but because they had advertising dollars coming in, I knew that I could also get ad dollars from mine. So I started my publication focused on small businesses. And again, there was no one else in that market. And what I did from there is I grew it and grew it until I launched into another city and then to another city after that. And then eventually that publication grew into, I believe it's like 17 cities. I sold that business a while back, but it was able to expand. It focused on a particular niche. And I could go on and give you example after example of niches, successful niches. But the point being is this. If you're going to launch a business, then first thing you want to do is pick your industry. Pick the industry that you want to be in. I was business publishing. Then find a niche after that, which I found, which was my small business niche. Then the rest, my friends, the rest is up to you. So that's all I want to say. If you have any questions, you can always put a comment in the question box. I mentioned we had last month, which really was a record for us, over 500,000 views. I had thousands of comments. You know what? I try to get back to people as fast as I can, and sometimes I don't or don't have the ability to get back to every single person. So this video right here is one way of getting back to hundreds of people who asked a question about starting a business. This video was for you. So that's all I got for you today, folks. I didn't mention this. I almost forgot. If you would, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It's easy enough to do. Just hit that little red button. If you hit the little bell down there, hit that little bell at the bottom. It's above the description box, I believe, underneath the video. Every single time I upload a new video, you'll get it. So, well, as I always say, have a great day, everybody.